Howdy, howdy, everybody. All three viewers watching. We got one on YouTube, so we appreciate whoever that is. Blair's on Facebook. Is that you on YouTube?
No, I don't think so. No, it's not.
Okay.
It's
Well, anyway.
Those nights. They'll trickle.
Why is that? Huh?
Just middle of summer, everybody's busy. I think they're rolling in here. I know.
I heard trickle and automatically thought dirty.
Oh,
Blair. Blair let off a nice one before we got going, so had to collect ourselves before we went live. So as you saw our post here, we were originally scheduled to have Tip Holcomb on. Had a little emergency, so we'll try to get him on in the next coming week. So we apologize there, but Blair and I are we retitled this one "Calling an Audible." So we're going to give you a regular scheduled program tonight. Talk a lot of racing. We got Cars Gone Wild for those of you that enjoy that segment. So be sure to stick around. We'll do our local Colorado and regional recap at the end here tonight. Got some Dirt National stuff to get through, and Blair's got a segment on tires. I'm excited to listen and learn about that. So without further ado, episode 14 here. I'm Brandon Hall, creator and creator of Scrubbin' Tires Media and co-host of Throwin Sliders podcast, and retired for the moment 3BH outlaw kart driver. And I'll pass to Mr. Cooper on my left for intros.
I'm Blair Cooper, driving sprint cars and anything else they'll let me in, but getting ready to hit the road again here soon. Glad to be back on the pod, and we're going to do a makeshift episode. We'll see how it goes. We've never had this happen before.
No, I was telling Blair, this is when we got the text from Tip. It was uncharted territory. We've had a couple of guests show up late and some technical difficulties when we had Curtis Hildenbrand, but so we'll make it work, and we appreciate you guys tuning in, and tell your friends, and let's get going. So without further ado, before we start every show, we'll give some love to Racing Rowdy Ranch. And for those of you who follow the social media pages, big news this weekend, we dropped all the Street Stock Mafia hats, the collaboration with Team Hilton and Uptown Speed Shop. So get them while you can. They really sold out, or not sold out, but sold fast. There's a handful of them left. So if you want to be part of that gang, get yours before they sell out. And got the Pit Lizard Posse stuff up and posted for you guys. And Blair Cooper's going to be the ringleader there of the Pit Lizard Posse, which makes a perfect mold, perfect fit. So get them while you can, but we appreciate the support there. Get your hats, support local racing, and support the show because they are the presenting partner for both podcasts. So without further ado, we'll play that, and we'll get into some Dirt National level recap from the previous weekend. So here we go.
Racing Rowdy Ranch was created with one person, one adjective, and one place in mind: the blue-collar racer and the crew behind the scenes. A word that can describe these racers and crews and how they live. Finally, a place where the straightaways and turns are these racers' pastures and hills, all bordered by concrete walls that could share more than their fair share of memories, even after several coats of paint. We are racing. We live rowdy, and we long to be at the ranch, riding for the brand. An apparel company designed to showcase just that. Push the limits every day, and be proud of who we are. Visit www.racingrowdyranch.com now to order yours today. Saddle up, strap in, and live rowdy. Proud presenting partner of Scrubbin' Tires Media, Throwin Sliders, and Hittin' the Chip podcasts.
Man, every time I hear www on anything now, I just think of Blair. Can't get over it.
Hell,
yeah, can't get over it. All right, so yeah, go check out racingrowdyranch.com. Get you some hats. We're going to jump right into the World of Outlaws. They had the Case Construction late models and the NOS Energy Drink sprint cars coming at you. Start with the late models. They ran at Sharon Speedway. It was a doubleheader, the 12th and 13th, which was this past weekend. Quick little recap. I didn't get to watch it. $10,000 to win on the first night. And honestly, I'm just going to give you your feature winners, unless I see anything cool on worldofoutlaws.com. Doesn't look like it. 40-lap feature. That's kind of cool. And it was split between Bobby Pierce and Ryan Gustin, who, if you tuned in last week, Ryan Gustin had a hell of a weekend in Minnesota. So doing well, but Bobby Pierce in that 32 was your winner on, what was that, Friday night? Yeah, that was the 12th. Yep. Okay. Friday night, Bobby Pierce took that one, trying to look for the hard charger. Not really one. Up 7 for Greg Satirli, which I'm probably butchering that. But yeah, so Bobby Pierce was your winner on Friday night, and the 13th. Let's see, this one doesn't say how much it was to win. Let me go back. Actually, just kidding. Clicked the wrong button. It was, doesn't say. It doesn't matter anyway, because we're just going to give you the winner. So, yeah, Bobby Pierce swept both nights. He led 23 of the, more than that. It looks like we had Bobby Pierce leading 23, Brandon Shepard in the B5, who's been running strong, led 25. And Dennis Erb Jr., who unfortunately finished sixth, led 2 of those. So quite a big feature there for the second night. But yeah, it doesn't say how much. But nevertheless, we'll get into the World of Outlaws sprint cars. And they were at Wilmot. Blair did catch the recap. Did you watch the whole race or just a recap?
No, just a 7-minute recap on YouTube.
Gotcha.
So, but it looked like, I mean, those tracks up there, man, I would love to race up in the it's like that. They're nice.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, Minnesota.
It's kind of cool how they stay Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin before they move on. But you had some big names, obviously finishing in the top half of these. Doesn't say how much this one was to win. And apologies for all those watching. We don't have our notes prepared as we were supposed to have Tip Holcomb on. But Carson Macedo, who's kind of double dipped in the high limits sprint car series, as well as the World of Outlaws, which is his mainstay. He took home the checkers in there, led all 40 of the laps, followed by Buddy Kofoid and David Gravel, who's been on a hot streak lately. That was night number 1 up in Wisconsin. And night number 2 at Wilmot went to Donnie Schatz, the old timer, the old geezer. And he led, scroll down the bottom. He led 31 and Buddy Kofoid led 9 of that race. Carson Macedo, the winner from the night before, finished second. And kind of your top guys finished all in the top 5, top 10. So it was $12,000 to win night number 2 for those guys. And so that's it for your World of Outlaws stuff. Stay tuned. We kind of give a high level recap every time we have a show, or a non-guest show, I should say. But the high limit series have been off for a few weeks, but they're up again this Wednesday, July 17th. It's the World of Outlaws Double Downs Duels. So if you have Flow Racing, I strongly suggest you tune into that. There's a lot of money on the line, not just for the purse, but they're doing $100,000 draw. And it's going to be super cool. Jackpot is what it's actually called, $100,000 to win jackpot. And it's twin 25 lap, $12,000 to win main events. So I assume there's probably going to be upwards of 40 cars there. That's a lot of money to win. So if you have Flow Racing, and hopefully the weather in Ohio holds out on Wednesday, you can see some badass racing action. So that's what we had for the Dirt Natty recap this week. Like I said, abbreviated, but at least you got to see the winners. So I will pass to Blair now for his discussion, and we got a video queued up for you. So on you, Blair.
I was gonna say too, if we ever have Donnie Schatz on the show, I'm gonna remind him that you called him an old geezer.
No, don't do that. Hey,
you know what's funny is he's been around forever, but he's still not that old. These guys
right
started. He's been on the road for 35 years or something.
Yeah. Well, and I say geezer meaning like people. Yeah, well, people like in certain industries like racing, if you've been in it 20, like Troy, like you're considered a dinosaur. And that's just how it is. So no offense to Donnie Schatz. You can come on the show whenever, and I will.
You're not a Ford guy. That's the problem.
Well, that logo is big and bold on the side of his wing, so we might have to change that to a bow tie. But anyway, to you, Blair.
Did you want to throw that video up?
Yeah, I can. Did you want to play it first?
Well, we can just. A little discussion that's been going around in the sprint car world. I know Brandon and I've talked a lot about, we talk about it on the show. I think that sprint car world is always tires and the cost of it. And especially with these guys that are running 90, 95, 100 times a year, you can just imagine what that tire bill is. So there's been some discussion to harden up the tires, and JJ Hilke was on the Driver Project podcast. And this is something you and I were watching and thought we'd talk about a little bit, maybe further the discussion. and
Yeah.
see what some of the listeners think and a little more perspective on it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll play this, and then Blair will give you some insight on that. And Blair, if you don't mind, give me a thumbs up if you can hear it. I think I got it perfected this time, but we'll do it. All right, here we go.
Yeah, man. I don't understand why the tire has to be so soft. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. I don't think that the soft tire makes for better racing. It wears out faster. I just don't see any pros to it. There's a lot of cons, and it's one of those things that's gotten so expensive that for guys to be able to just race on a weekly basis, you're pricing guys out, because even the weekly racers, they still want to win and they still want to show up with new tires. But when it's $700 or more to put a pair of tires across the back of the car that you're going to burn off in one night, eventually guys are going to be able to justify just going and buying a boat and not going racing. And I mean, I talk to a lot of people that race at home for fun and because they love it. And it's just out of control what you have to do just to keep up and race with, just to keep up with the next guy. And racing's gotten to such a high level that even the local races, you still have to have good tires. And I just wish that there was a harder tire that we could run that we could race 3 or 4 or 5 nights on. And I don't, they're always looking for reasons to slow the cars down or whatever, make the racing better, make it more equal. I think that that's a great spot to start, would be to have harder tires that we could run on the rear of the cars.
Yeah, great insight.
Shout out Drivers Project. That's a pretty cool clip. I mean,
Absolutely.
What do you think? I mean, as a fan, see, here's my problem. This is why I thought we'd talk about.
Well, you got a lot of problems.
I got a lot of problems. Real sick man. But when I got into sprint car racing, or started watching sprint car racing heavily before we actually even got into the cars, the reason that I was drawn to it was because, for one, your lap times, the cars, everything, the soft tires, the downforce, the high horsepower. I mean, they're about as fast as you can possibly go. It's just a rocket ship on the dirt or asphalt, either way. So I do understand wanting a harder tire to save cost, but I guess it depends on what that comes at. I mean, we obviously want better racing, and that probably would provide that. The only thing I worry about too is trashing cars. If you get in these dry slick ice rinks for these local tracks that are just ill prepped, I mean, these aren't all outlaw level tracks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that would come down to the drivers being responsible with their equipment, and but you would be sliding guys. You're going to probably jump cushions and stuff like that. So I haven't been around long enough to tell you what a really hard tire would feel like. Something that lasts 5 nights is going to be pretty hard, especially if you get on a dry slick track and it lasts. That sucker's going to be concrete. So there's got to be a happy medium. But I do understand the cost. It really has gotten out of control. Like you said, $700. Like, we're going to Aztec, not this weekend, but next. Last year, I ripped all 4 corners off the car both nights. I mean, the tires were shredded. They had to even shorten the main the second night because it took rubber early before we even went. We didn't start until 10:45, and it wasn't even their fault on track prep. I mean, the place, it was 108 degrees that day.
Golly.
It took rubber in 10 laps. I mean, hard rubber, just because it's a high bank, fast, abrasive track. And when that happens, I mean, you could see, I would watch guys come off the corner and smoke purple all the way to the flag stand. So that sucks when you've got, when you take all 4 corners off, now you got $700 in rears, and I think fronts are like $269 to $289, depending on where you buy them.
Still.
So, I mean, you're looking at $1,400-$1,400 in tires each night.
2 nights.
$2,800 in tires.
Oh, each night. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So all 4 corners each night had to come off the car. They
I got you.
Crash. And 25 laps the first night. They shortened the second night to 20 laps, and I was showing the cords. So I do get it, but I just kind of wonder what you think as a fan. Would you rather see them slow it down, maybe help the racing, or do you just like to see sprint cars absolutely blast and hope that the track will make the show? Something that slicks off 2 lanes, is it?
Yeah. No, it's obviously, as you mentioned, it's kind of throughout the sprint car industry, especially this year. I mean, you even saw it kind of at the Chili Bowl in January with the midgets, them checking because they switched to a softer tire. They didn't want, or harder, and they didn't want people doping them and, doing anything like that. So it's kind of twofold, right? Like, as a driver, locally, 99% of the time you're funding it, or your family, you're not just hopping in rides, but you get the bill, and obviously you want to decrease costs. So that's, I don't know. I think sprint cars, no matter what tire you have on there, they're going to put on a good show. Some nights better than others, and that's just racing depending on the track, certain conditions. But I don't, it like for the casual fan, and even for like you or me sitting up in the stands, I'm not going to be able to tell you watching a sprint car go around the track, oh, he's got, a R1 on, or, it's soft tire tonight. Like we have no idea. As long as the track is prepped and it's taken rubber, there's 2 or 3 grooves. I think that's what matters probably more so to the fans. And the minute the fans start, oh, you should put on this tire, then I think we've lost racing a little bit, because we're paying for this out of our pocket. This is our hobby. Yes, it's, as we've heard up at the asphalt track north of here, we're entertainers and we're trying to put on a good show no matter what tire we have on. But at the end of the day, like you said, the casual blue collar guy cannot be affording $1,400 a night for tires. That it's not in your budget. And if it is in your budget, good for you. And if it's not, then you're probably limiting your races to maybe 5 a year because of that.
Yeah.
And that's not
budget dependent.
Yeah. Right. But we don't want to limit the amount of times whatever class comes out a year. We want them to be there every single time that they're scheduled to run. Obviously crashes happen, motors blow up, that kind of thing. But I would lean towards put the harder thing on. The drivers will get accustomed to it. They'll learn how to race it, drive it, how long it lasts, that kind of thing. And they'll figure it out. But I think the track is more dependent on if it puts on a good show or not.
Sure. Well, and that's kind of, like I said, that was just an anomaly. Like a lot of the places we go, I do have tires. Like when we went to Dodge City, I barely knocked the crosshairs off it, but it was hammered down too. So as a fan, obviously, and even as a driver, like when I first started, I love that hammer down, early that you can just really rip. But then by the time that it's race time now, I want something that you can either back the car up into a 2-lane.
Well, it provides passing, right?
Yes. Yeah. Cause it was like I was wooded, and the car, if it's off just a little bit and somebody checks out, you're not going to catch them. It's just, you're not going to horsepower somebody at that level.
Right.
Like Carson went flag to flag that first night.
Yeah.
It's pretty hooked up.
Seeing that, and good for Carson, good for his team, good for his fans, but I don't want to see anybody lead every single lap. Good for you if that happens, but I want to see some lead changes. I want to see some action, some passing, 2 wide, 3 wide, whatever it is. And in order to do that, like you said, and we're kind of veering off on track conditions, but if you have a hammer down track the entire night, like you said, it really comes down to what's under the hood at that point, because you're not lifting, you're not sliding, you're not doing anything. And it just doesn't put on. You can even correlate that to the asphalt world, mainly NASCAR. If whatever they got going on with this new car, the track isn't taking rubber, that's the main focal point of racing, is the track has to take rubber, or else these guys are just going to be full throttle, follow the leader. And that's not what we want.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see that. No. And I agree with that. I do feel like these new tires are, they're kind of maybe they could be a little harder as far as saving money. And then also it could even out the competition a little bit. It's always, you never know, but obviously the tire manufacturers don't want tires lasting probably 5 nights.
Right.
There's no super hard, so it's a game.
I think like Hoosier and Goodyear on the asphalt side, they have a fine line, right? Because they're not so much Goodyear, but just use Hoosier for an example. Like for you, they want them to last, a couple nights, so you get your money's worth and you keep your returning customer and you keep racing, because then they make more money and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, like if I'm turning on a high limit race, high limit or a World of Outlaws race, put those damn soft tires on there. Give us a show, because I don't mean this in a arrogant way, but you guys can afford that. Your teams, you're in the highest level of sprint car racing. You can afford a set of tires a night. These local guys, we can't. So soft tires for them, harder for the local guy. And I think you kind of find that happy medium. And some people may disagree with that, and that's okay. And same thing with NASCAR, and then I'll shut up. Like I still watch it. I'm still a huge fan. And what we've seen this year, the softer the tire, man, it throws strategy out the window. These guys are coming in every 15 laps for tires, and it just makes for a better race. And people are lifting and passing, saving their tires. Some guys will blow by them at the first part of a run, and then they'll catch them, because they save their tires a little bit. They can afford that. That's what they signed up to do. And am I Mr. H sitting here saying, oh yeah, keep increasing the tire bill? I'm sure he hates it too. But at the end of the day, you guys got billions. we're barely scratching to get six figures, on the local, salary range. So I think Hoosier, Goodyear, they just got to separate, the big guys versus the little guys, and make the little guys a little bit harder, make them last a little bit longer. And I think we'd have our answer.
I think the only place I'd push back on that, thinking about it, is that one, you do have local guys like the Outlaws. They don't have 30 cars that run full time, or the high limit. You are
right,
guys. So all your notes, if you have all your notes on a hard tire, then you try to run, those, so that there. And then as far as budget wise, the only other thing I would see is that if you had something more affordable, like Hickel was talking about, you might have guys that maybe run more of a full-time schedule to keep, if you had 20 traveling cars in the series, and then you bring on 10, 20, 30 local guys, because they're not bumped out. That would be my only place to push back on that point, because I think you're right, is most of those teams can afford it, but there's generally like 15 teams.
Yeah, that's fair.
At the outlaw level that can even sustain. And you might see the bottom 5-6 teams wash out annually till they either find a new driver, find new funding. They're not completely established year after year.
Yeah.
That's the only hard part about that. And that's why this is always such a complicated subject, because it's like, even my wife in the comments.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah. That last sentence there, Tara, is, people in racing, but not every sport is intended for everyone. That's true. And it's a, tough love kind of sentiment there, because like Blair said, if you're lucky enough or have the financial backing, if Blair wants to go try out if he gets in a 410 or even a 360 and goes to try a high limit race, well, he's still on the same budget that he has for his local stuff, but now he's trying his hand there. And using that soft tire, you are going to go through that set that night, if not a couple. So I don't know the answer.
Well, and it really does. It's not going to, there's so many expenses that the tires at where they're at right now for us, we always have a set budget at the beginning of the year, and sponsors, if they come in, we can hit more races, we can promote their business. I mean, it's just always, it's a compounding effect, but it does come into play of when you got to buy 6 sets. Well, how many races can we actually run this year? Well, if we don't blow the tire, if we don't burn them off, we can add a race or two.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not the make or break, but it definitely is. I mean, it really comes down to that compounding effect for guys that are trying to run probably, whatever the budget is, 50 races until you get to the guys that are trying to run 100. I mean, at one time Clausen was trying to run 200 across different series. So these guys are wanting in the car as much as they can. And, I think they're good. Like you said, they're probably going to be fine, but the guys that want to move up like me, I would love to eventually get to the point where we run mostly big national tour races, whether that ever happens or not. 1, on budget, 2, on how we get the car rolling. If I'm able to compete with those guys, and how long before I'm aged out or don't want to do it anymore, at that competitive of a level. Because it is a job, everybody says a hobby. I've told you, it literally is a second job for me. I think I had 18 hours in getting the car back together and making sure it's perfect, because for one, I don't want my equipment to go out there and fail. Yeah. And it's too expensive for me not to take extreme care of it. So in putting that much time in, I'm not an every weekend racer. And that's not just a budget issue. It's also the time. I still have a day job, but it's all of it. And the tires definitely are a big part when you see,
Yeah. No, it's a good point. And I would hate to be, higher up at Hoosier or Goodyear to try to figure it out, but the prices keep going up and the durability keeps going down. And I see their point to the latter point there, but at some point you're going to phase out a lot of local people, and local racing is plummeting. Whether we want to accept that or no, we can look at car counts across the region that we see week in, week out doing the podcast, but it's not good. And I'm not, like you said, it's not just the tires, but it's a big deal, and prices keep going up. And that's, I'll get off my soapbox after this, but, tires are one of the main things, tire, fuel, oil, lubricants, that kind of thing. You always need that every single time you race. Do you need to replace an engine every time? No. And thankfully, but it's just those things that you have to buy and put on in order to be quick or to compete. And I get it. They got to make money too, but at some point you gotta, because if we phase out local drivers, then their pockets decrease as well, not by, a ton, but they'll notice it. So I don't know. I hope we find a solution.
Well, and I think the one good thing, I mean, always, just to bounce off what you were saying about the local tracks, I have seen a lot of local tracks, wherever we go, or what we hear about is they suffer. But sprint car racing has obviously been getting more popular again. Wing sprint cars are as popular as they've ever been in my
100%.
life. I mean, it's just massive now. But I will say regional shows have really seemed to pick up. So but it does phase out. And maybe that goes back to my wife's point of it's not for everybody. Maybe go race. We've talked about that with Troy and a bunch of different guys. Race the class you can afford. And then when you can move up, or if you can, then do it. That's, but these guys that are running regional shows, they have some more backing, or they have at least good cars that they can afford to put good tires and parts on. And so those shows, if you're a track like that, you should really be trying to capitalize, get the purse, get the fans, get a regional tour in, and you're going to draw cars. I mean, even like we talked about, and we'll talk about a little more in Kansas, 25 305s all weekend, basically.
That's plus a lot.
4 nights in a row, so that wasn't cheap for those guys, but they had decent purses. So it's possible.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's kind of a ripple effect. Like the more you pay them, then they're like, okay, if I finish, top 3, whatever they're paying out to, it could, and so there's just a magnitude of things. But if you're burning through tires every night, like I hope you have some backing, or you have a good job, because it's going to run out quick.
Hot damn, dude. It is sick to fucking rip on a new softy.
I'm sure.
It's just when that early, like I said, you wouldn't want that all the time, because then the racing would be shit. But damn, to get in the car when you're on something that's soft and new or cut, and you're just ripping around there, it's like, Jesus, this is sprint car racing, at least early. I was at early, and then get sliding around. And
I even noticed, last year in the Outlaw, like, initially prepping them, doing that at home and then taking it there, and that first couple laps of hot laps, it's biting and lifting up the front left, and like it's cool. But fortunately in those things you don't burn them off like you guys do, but I can only imagine what it's like. But then you get to the pitch and you're like, oh shit, crosshairs are gone.
Well, it's so weird. A super fast track with moisture in it, generally you're not
burn them off.
So, and I mean, you could be going it's like asphalt. You could be pegged around there to the wood, and you're not burning the tires off, but the racing's not that good. Well, if it's super dry, well then, guys can race around each other. It's usually a big mess or a really great show, but then the tires are trash. So there's always a happy medium. And I think that's it again, between the track and the tire. There's never going to be a perfect combination, but somewhere in that middle ground, maybe they go up 4 points on the durometer and I don't know, 4 to 10, maybe 10. Probably 4 wouldn't help for shit, but somewhere in there. But I definitely don't want it to just be an ice rink. Slider either.
You should tell them to put your hat in, or your name in the hat for tire testing in the off season. Call Hoosier, like, hey,
to put the laps on the motor.
That's fair.
That's what sucks.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's hard to. We don't go out and test. It's too expensive to test. I'm like, well, we'll test on hot laps, and you get 3 laps. And better freaking close. But that's why you do see the competition is so stiff at that level. Those guys don't jack around in it. At that level, you should know what you're at least have some base level of competency before you just go to a car or a late model or a midget. Get in a lower series and cut your teeth, or you're going to be. It's going to be so expensive. It's going to price you out, trash and shit. Or you're going to learn the hard way. Yeah,
no doubt. Well, unfortunately, Blair and I don't have the answers for anyone that's curious how we're going to solve this. 100%. We could talk about, racing, tracks and tires and all that every week, but it's just something that keeps kind of lingering in the sprint cars and dirt. I don't think it's so much of an issue. Not the open wheel stuff like late models. I don't think they struggle with it as much, but I'm sure if we had someone on here that knew, like a Brady Balderson, that knew a hell of a lot more about late models than Blair and I do, they'd probably agree.
They got 4 big tires on them, so I'm sure we didn't talk to him about cost. They got 4 15-inch tires on, so I can just imagine their tire bills are higher than ours.
Right. Yeah, those are big ones. Yep. And
they did experiment with the compounds.
Oh, did they in the late models?
We were talking about that with the super soft. They had right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't follow late models enough. I need to get more educated on them. You only have so much bandwidth, and I do enjoy watching. It's been a weird year. It hasn't been big news except for early with the tires. Guys.
They've had great racing. Covering the results and stuff like that. Watching the recaps and stuff, but nothing. I mean, like you said, sprint cars is just the last couple of years, especially High Limit coming into town, man. It's on the rise, which is cool. I enjoy it.
Yeah, and both
all right
together. We they've both been kind of just counterparts to each other. One hasn't really taken away from the other. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I think I think they do a good job of, like, if a World of Outlaw guy shows up to a High Limit, they talk trash, and they, obviously the Carson Macedos, they're contending for wins, not they're running 15th, like they're trying to steal the show, steal the money. And I think they just have a good thing going. So I applaud them for that. And it's cool to see. It's really literally like turning it into Hatfield McCoys. It's cool to see. So
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, but good topic, Blair. It's tires are always a thing of discussion. So with that, I'm going to take a drink of water, but we're going to get into one of our newest segments. And if Scotty Bremkamp's watching, your favorite, Cars Gone Wild. So we got a few queued up for you this week. Just looking through them. We got some funny ones, and I think they're all actually funny. Just looking at them. Oh, I guess the Millbridge one isn't funny per se, but just a cool,
it's pretty cool
in-car camera of a micro going around Millbridge. So with that, take a drink here and do Cars Gone Wild. So as Blair just mentioned, gonna take you around Millbridge in a micro. Show you what that's about. Wingless, yeah, even better.
On the bridge.
So cool.
It's pretty sick.
On the edge. And I was telling Blair, I don't even know, probably in the pre-show sometime or via text, but those things on iRacing at Millbridge, man, it's you don't have a lot of time. I imagine it's like driving a sprint car on really any track. Like you have like a half a second to make a decision, and you're either in the wall or in the infield. So very cool to see a bucket list to go run on for sure. What's that?
Banging the boards.
Banging the boards, yeah, exactly.
Port Royal for the sprint cars. They just
no doubt.
Right on the top.
All right. We got another one from the NASCAR Cup guys. We're at Pocono this weekend, so they did a collaboration on NASCOM, so we appreciate their content. This one's always fun. So if you're under the age of 18, please plug your ears and tune us out for a minute. But here we go with this one.
When you come somewhere that is packed with fans, I think it kind of amps the situation.
When you come, you got to hit it right.
And I assume that's tight, Jeff, right? You kind of get in harass. You would come then.
Logano edges a 50-foot inflatable submarine.
The late night's coming back into motorhome. You're looking at it from behind.
It looks like that streak will continue for a long time to come.
Kim, I'm not sure the 38 team's going to be asking you back to be embedded.
Well, the first thing you have to do is fill them up. 12 ounces, 16 ounces. Someone's going to come from behind and get you. He's watching that tube. When he sees that thing fill up, then he's saying, go, go, go.
Family affair, really hard and dirty.
Everybody came on lap 55.
Pack it. Then the question is, when do you come?
They come into turn one. Very tight.
Working back and forth.
We might see somebody come.
Oh, look at this tight squeeze right here.
Coming in, Bubba Wallace going to fall into the pit crew's hands of getting the guys off.
Every gas man wants to see a solid stream, and it will scare you to death. When that thing explodes, you're pushing everything to the edge.
He's short by 3. That's 7.5.
LaJoy saw that coming. He's like, I got to get to the right.
Alex just a little bit tight.
Their elbows not making them having feeling.
Oh man. Oh, that one keeps going for a while. But what's that?
That's a long one.
Yeah, it was. That usually they're Smart Bremkamp does a lot of coming, that's for sure. All right, we got one more tonight. Blair actually got iRacing set up, and he put a webcam up and showing him driving a 410 sprint car. So we definitely wanted to show this to you, and that'll be the it of Cars Gone Wild this week. So here's Blair last night in iRacing.
I'm not doing this! I'm not doing this! I'm not doing this! I'm not doing this! I'm not the one doing this! Okay, this thing about to rip my arms off.
Oh, good stuff.
Swindell Speed Lab.
Yeah. Well, there's Blair taking a crack at the four. Did you? I guess they didn't have 410s when you had iRacing for that brief moment, did they?
I had it for
Or
2
it wasn't
days.
a thing.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
No.
Dirt came out in 2018, 2019, I want to say, but yeah.
I boxed that shit right back up, went and bought more shocks.
Yeah, no, it's I was telling my buddy up in Cheyenne this week, this rig I got sitting here next to me got probably computer and everything probably close to 10 grand, and it's absolutely ridiculous for a toy. But anyway, it's fun.
Good
So
tool.
that was
You can afford it.
Yeah, I mean,
put everything
well,
back into the car and the operation. So it was just
Yeah.
like, oh, I could be out. Actually, that's 5 races maybe if you can, 5 regional shows or 4 regional
Right.
shows.
Oh, so
Season.
Wee Man's calling you out.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm sure on iRacing.
No, he's pretty damn good. I'll give you that. I've spotted for him too. It's fun stuff. We always have a good battle. But yeah, that was your Cars Gone Wild segment. We hope you enjoyed that. Like I said, I had to put some clips together real quick, calling an audible tonight without Tip Holcomb, but hope you enjoyed that. Now we're going to get into Dirt and CO weekend recap and some regional stuff. Blair's going to talk about the Kansas stuff and El Paso. We did have a race at Honor. However, there was only one points race. So they had some mini bikes and lawnmowers and stuff like that. Shout out to Sean for winning the lawnmower race. That's where I got my racing beginning. So, but with that, Blair, I don't know which one you wanted to queue up first, either El Paso or, almost hit the back button, the 4-night show. So I'll leave it to you, sir.
We were just going to talk a little bit. It's the results and stuff are scattered, but the Kansas, what was it called, Brandon? The Wheatland Wheat something. Here. It was the Wheat Shocker Nationals. So shocking that wheat.
Yeah, we just throw up the pitchfork
right there. But a lot of Colorado.
Two in the weeds and one in the dirt, right?
Yeah. But no, just kind of was going to cover some of this. I know they raced at, like we talked about, sprint car racing, even the 305s. That is, if you're not familiar, haven't been to it, that Kansas series, they come around here every once in a while, and they were just in Colorado and putting on a hell of a show. It's the United Rebel Sprint Car Series. They raced at Waukene Speedway the first night, and then they did 2 nights at RPM Speedway, and then the last night at Rush County. So 4 days of racing, and they said it was just hot as hell. Everybody I talked to, they were just sweating and sick. They even had to move the race times back. But you had Velasquez, you had Hewish, and Martins. Those were your winners, I believe, out of the three nights there. Like I said, their results aren't that great, but just check that series out. They have a pretty good YouTube page, and Johnny Booz was there, Ryan Rader. Those are some Colorado guys that I've raced with, and
podcast alum.
For 305 series, it's banging. So if you want to see some good sprint car racing out that way,
add that to the clip. Blair said banging.
Clip it, but
clip it.
Yeah. Anyway, I did catch some of those, so I was pretty surprised at the coverage they get, and pretty cool. So you had Blurton was there. I know they, a lot of names that you'll recognize that run both. You got 360, 410 guys back and forth between those, and pretty cool. So nothing. I mean, I don't want to go through all the results, but at least give them a little bit of a shine and push some people that way. That United Rebel Sprint Car Series. So they have a YouTube page, everything. Go check it out. Definitely.
Yeah, and then we had El Paso County run. I don't know, Blair, if you want to go through that. The fair race, which is obviously cool. We talked about that last week and had some good car counts looking at the results here. A lot of previous podcast alumni on there too. Winning.
Two-time winner at El Paso County Fair Day.
There we go. And the bull riding or what?
No, I'd do it. Let's see. You wouldn't?
I rode a steer when I was little because I kind of grew up with my buddy he's a team roper and stuff, and it just I'll strap into a race car because at least 98% of the times you can control that, but big ass animals you can't.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Well, we had A-Class Micros. Your A feature winner there was Justin Stoltz. He's out of Peyton, Colorado. And then the Spicola brothers. It went Chase Spicola and then Enzo Spicola. They rounded out your top 3. So the brothers battling out.
And if I can, Justin Stoltz, he actually when I got my start in offset karts in 2019, he was actually racing the four-wheelers, the quads, the flat track, and smoking everybody and doing really good. And then at the awards banquet, he said he was moving east to continue the flat track quads. And lo and behold, he gets a micro, and slowly but surely, doing the results from last year, you could see him creeping up, and finally, I think that's his first win, feature win.
Wow.
So don't fact check me on that, but I think it is. So anyway, congrats, Justin.
Nice. Right. Well, and I see on there my little buddy Hunter Finney. He finished 4th on there. We don't usually get that far in the results, but give a shout out to him. That's not too bad. There was actually 3 Spicolas in that race too. Daytona Spicola had a DNF.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of Pueblo guys in there. That's good to see. And then we move on to restricted micros. Shyla Ernst won that one. That's out of Peyton, Colorado. And then dwarf cars. This was the one we were going to have Tip on to talk about. He got it done with the bounty on his race car. So an extra $100 and a tire. Sponsored by Shore Dirt Works for that one. Keaton Shore put it up to see if anybody could beat Tip. He's just been dominating. And hopefully when he comes back on, maybe he'll still have the bounty on him. But he was plus 13 spots. So he started 14th and drove it to the win. And it looks like there were a lot of cautions in that one. I'm seeing up to the top 9. Outside of the top 9 were all DNFs. But anyway, good on Tip for
super
having
cool,
the pressure on and getting it done. So then
what I would do if I was a track promoter would be since no one beat him with $100, up it to 2, maybe cap it at 5, but something like that. Keep it going.
I think they're adding to the pot for that every week. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, I hope to see that continue. And if you're a dwarf guy, you want to beat him.
Definitely.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, he's been dominant. And then in the lightning sprints, Scrubbing Tires, Throwin Sliders podcast alum just from a couple weeks ago, Troy Olery, he got it done. He's out of Ridge, Colorado. So you're welcome, Troy. We take all the credit. None to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Missy or any of your crew. That was all us.
Nope.
So you're
that was all us. It's a magic touch, I'm telling you.
That's it. Yeah, it happens a lot, huh? Right after they're on the pod.
I think you're the only one that didn't.
Yeah, I finished 8th. So I ruined the streak.
Damn it.
Yeah, I had the rope ready. It was around my neck. But
yep.
So you had Troy Olery won that one, followed by Josh Flood, and then TJ Trengrove, Tyler Trengrove. Brother-in-law to Jake Booback too. So there's another racing family.
There you go.
Yeah. And then you had Warriors, and Rod Glenn out of Broomfield, Colorado won that. Frank Ogden out of Coaldale, and Jonas Aragon out of Cheyenne. So some people making the tow.
Rod Glenn's number is quite extravagant. Did you see that?
What is it?
48 B car is his number. It's like a damn train up at CNS.
Yeah, no shit. Maybe it was. They converted.
Maybe.
Took the hitch off.
There you go.
And then Dirt Super Late Models. That I almost tried to make it up there to see this show. We just we're busy and didn't quite make it. And then the storms rolled in down here. And that's an hour and a half for me. So we didn't quite make it. But it looks like Don Geist out of Burlington, Colorado. He walked away with it, followed by Joe Belm and then Lainey Belm, his daughter. So that's your top 3. And they're both out of Broomfield. And
11 of them showed up.
Yeah, that's better. It's growing. I'm telling you, late models, that'd be awesome. I know their rules are kind of mixed, so I think you can run crates. We'll have to get some more info on that, but I know they've tried to make that to where you can compete. If you got a late model, bring it out. And anyway, but that looks like the end of results for El Paso County Fair Race. That's always a big fun one, usually a sold-out crowd. And it's just so
I didn't see any pictures of the grandstands, but I'm sure they did pretty well. So car counts in every class seem to be up for that race anyway. So really cool to see.
It's Monday. I think they're racing the IMCA classes tonight too.
Are they at El Paso?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was tonight. I don't know if it was yesterday, but I thought they were saying Monday night, but it could have been yesterday. So we'll have to look for on that next week.
Yeah, let me just check that out real quick.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Well, Monday night racing would be hard.
Yeah, that's your. Oh, yeah, they are live now. Let's see what we got. Yeah, we got the IMCA Sport Mods, Stock Cars, Hobby Stocks, Compacts, Junior Compacts, and Warriors. Oh, that's right, because Jordan down in Pueblo sent a Snapchat of Brayson getting ready. Oh, okay. So that makes sense. I didn't know what the hell he was doing, but now it makes total sense. So
yeah,
good luck, Brayson. Out
Monday
there.
Night Mayhem.
Yeah, looks like they've got through all the heats and one feature in the stock cars. Mr. Joe Bellum took that one in the 73 for the stock cars. So followed by his daughter Lainey, like Blair just mentioned. I didn't know he had a stock car, but I guess he does.
That's really all I'd ever seen him drive when I started on dirt.
Yeah, but I thought that Laney's car was his old car, but clearly I'm mistaken.
I'm sure if not, he could find a ride.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. If hopefully go check out their Facebook page and My Race Pass if you're looking to see who won those feature events for those handful of classes. But yeah, super cool. That's hard to do on a Monday night. But cheers to those guys and gals that are out there tearing it up. So
yeah.
But yeah, that unfortunately takes us to the end of the scheduled show. Like I said, for those of maybe tuning in late, Tip Holcomb was supposed to come on, but had an emergency right at the very last before we were in our pre-show. So try to get him on. Hopefully maybe next week, as early as next week, if not the next, and continue on with our regular slated show. But we appreciate you guys tuning in, and hopefully you enjoyed the show anyway with Blair and I's humor and kind of calling on Audible and getting everything ready to go in 30 minutes or so.
Anytime.
Oh yeah.
We can bullshit.
Oh, tires?
Yeah, we can bullshit with the best of them if nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. But make it look like we know what we're doing anyway. But yeah, we appreciate you guys tuning in each week. I know for hitting the chip tomorrow, I believe they're still on track for tomorrow. They were up at was it Oswego? How do you say that?
Oswego. I think so. Oswego.
Oswego.
I don't think it's Spanish up there in Michigan.
No, it's probably native. I don't. Yeah, I think it's
Michigan.
native. Was it Michigan? I think it's Michigan. Yeah, Michigan.
It's around there.
So it's native. Oswego. Anyway, they'll have some cool insight. Check out Hitting the Chip podcast tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Mountain. I think they're home, so they can inform you on everything. It sounds like they did pretty good too. So
racing modifieds up north.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's a hell of a tow, I bet.
Yeah, that's a long trek, but from the results Jordan posted, it sounded like they did pretty good. So for not ever going there, ever in their life, and battled Mother Nature, it looked like too. So tune in tomorrow night, but hopefully, like I said, we'll get Tip on maybe as early as next week, if not the next. But if not, you're stuck with Blair and I for another week or two. And then we got some, I guess, news to share. I'm not going to spill it quite yet, but when I go on baby leave here in a couple of weeks, we have a fill-in co-host with Blair that you guys are going to love. So be ready for that. Well,
the show, cancel it.
Yeah, cancel the damn thing. Yeah, Blair might get kicked off the show. It might be good. I might come back from having the baby and be like, where the hell did the Throwin Sliders podcast go? But
it's gone.
But yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in each and every single week. We see the views even after the live show. If you're not a fan of that or you're just too busy on Monday or Tuesday, we totally understand that. And but appreciate it nevertheless. And as a matter of fact, we had an order come through for Race and Rowdy Ranch during the show. So we appreciate that and continue to show support there and support the podcast. So with that, I'm going to shut up and pass to Blair, and we'll see you all next week, 7:30 Mountain.
Yeah, I still got to, I know I've got to get some orders out, but go to my Facebook page, get a Blair Cooper shirt, flip me off from the stands. I do spot the middle fingers more than the waves. So people come up to the fence and give me the bird and blow kisses and all kinds of shit. So that's always fun to see if we're local. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in Aztec. I get to go hang out with Scrubbing Tires, Throwin Sliders alum Spencer Hill. So we'll see if we can't put it to him. And if he puts it to me, we'll just
have him on the show again.
Yeah. He whips my ass. You don't get to come back on the show.
Yeah,
so he's gonna have to spot me two spots. So take somebody out behind me. And
since both of you are alumni, one of you's got to win, or it's all a bust. So no pressure.
That's it. Yeah. So we'll see what we can do down there. I really enjoyed that place.
Yep.
It's fast.
Absolutely. Looking forward to getting updates and seeing you run out there. Or not seeing you run out there, but in spirit, vicariously through you.
Televised.
Oh yeah, on what? Dirt Vision?
Streaming it. No, it's
Gotcha.
it's their own, but they streamed it last year. So yeah.
Sweet. Definitely. We'll drop a link in the chat next week so folks can tune in and watch Blair and Spencer get at it. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your Monday evening and a great week. If you're racing this week, as we always say, keep it rubber side down and be getting kind of the crunch time. August. Well, we're not quite to August, but basically they're getting in the points thick of things. So be smart. Only use your fenders if you have them when you need to, and don't be crazy. And give us something to talk about on the podcast. So we appreciate it. Until next week, keep throwing those sliders, and we'll see you.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe. I thought you said your wife's name for some reason. I was like, well, like, Tara, and subscribe. Stay you. This has been another episode under Scrubbin' Tires Media. Creator and producer of Scrubbin' Tires Media is Brandon Hall. The Hit and the Chip podcast is hosted by Jacob and Jordan Smith. The Throwin Sliders podcast is hosted by Blair Cooper and Brandon Hall. Video and audio creator is Bryce Holcomb. Intro and outro music is owned and produced by Young Troubadour on YouTube. All episodes were created using StreamYard. Thanks for watching, listening, and supporting Scrubbin' Tires Media. Please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, keep scrubbing those tires.